What's up, guys? It's True Crime King. I'm pumping them out today. And this time, I'm going to be reacting to active self protection. And a Seattle man has 3 separate robbery attempts at his home. And we're going to watch him defend all 3 of them. So, here we go.
I lived in apartments for a lot of years, and they can be very high crime areas because of the parking lots like this. People leave stuff out.
Yeah, I've lived in apartments many years too, and he's right. I mean, it can be high crime areas if you live in a piece of shit apartment, but
People want to steal motorcycles and stuff like that. It's not all that uncommon. So these guys coming in, I get it that our homeowner here, he wants to.
These guys just walk in his garage. I mean, he could come out his garage door at any moment. I mean, his car's parked there. That's just crazy.
Surveil his stuff and get some cameras on him, and it notifies him if somebody's messing around with that. Well, what are you going to do when somebody is messing around with it? You better think that stuff out in it.
This guy had his bikes chained to a pole that was cemented into the ground. So they already came with bolt cutters.
Advance. And I think having these kinds of surveillance cameras is very wise for just such a thing. But recognize then, what am I going to do when it catches somebody trying to steal my stuff? Is it morally acceptable to...
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of you guys have security cameras, but then you're just going to call and wait for the cops, I mean, that's not going to do you much if they're already take your shit and are gone and then have fake license plate.
Stop someone from stealing your property. Of course it is. Now, of course, I think people are going to wonder here what my thoughts are when this guy comes out with a firearm in his hand. You heard him rack around in the...
Look, you can tell he just got out of his bed because he's butt naked except for maybe some little tiny panties. I don't know. But he's got a gun and he's pointed at him. If I were them, I would let that motorcycle go. Let's see what happened.
Into the chamber and started costing these guys to put his bike down. I actually have zero problems with him having a firearm. One of the things that I noticed, he has it out in front of him at a low ready position. Having a firearm on your person is perfectly acceptable to defend your life. You just don't want to shoot somebody over the property, right? So
yeah, the reason for that is you can shoot somebody if you are in fear for your life, but you can't shoot somebody over your property. Okay, or you will be the one going to jail as well.
So again, to have the firearm on your person, no problem whatsoever. If they then turn to try to attack you and you are at risk of death or great bodily harm, that's why you have the firearm on your person, and it's to defend yourself while you go out and say, no, I'm going to use ordinary physical force to stop these guys. Usually your presence and a threat of hey, the cops are on the way will do it. Next thing I want to notice, though, is that he is in his skivvies, and that's how you're going to defend yourself in the middle of the night, is you are not going to put all your kit on or whatever. You might grab your firearm, maybe a light if you got one in the immediate vicinity, and you're going to fight in your birthday suit. So prepare for that. At least he's wore some chones to bed or whatever so that he's not worried about, standing out there and freeing Willie. Now, these guys run off, and I think it's great that he didn't actually use the firearm.
Okay, smart. Drop the bike, don't get shot, live another day.
In terms of firing the gun, the presence of the firearm scared them off. He kept his bike. I think that's absolutely a win to keep his stuff. Now, of course, you got to go back in, and I would get on the phone with 911 because you've had a firearm involved in the incident. Now, in this next one, these guys are trying to steal his catalytic converter.
Well, not only that, but you want to report that you've just had a break-in so they know it happened.
Of his neighbor, so he comes out with a baseball.
So here's another one.
Ball bat. If you go click through to the original on this one, he said he had a gun in his pocket, but came out with the baseball bat. Recognize it?
Okay, so he did have a gun in his pocket, but they can't see that. They just see him coming running out with a baseball bat. But I guess that's why he is coming out very aggressive because he knows he's got that gun.
Number one, that a baseball bat is every bit as much a deadly force tool as a firearm. In the eyes of the law, they're going to see it no differently than a firearm in the sense of one hit with a baseball bat is highly likely to cause death or great bodily harm.
Yeah, but with a baseball bat, you have to get right up next to them, you know. And with if there's two of them, they could take the bat from you. Which, you know, you better be confident with that bat.
To someone, and therefore, I'm not saying it was an inappropriate tool to have, but just recognize it's not a less lethal tool. Now, he's going to go out there and stop these guys. I got no problem with that. Once again, I think that from a moral perspective, you know, being your brother's keeper, helping your neighbors is good, but recognize it can be highly dangerous because these guys might be violent. They might have guns on them or knives.
Yeah, if they have guns and there's two of them and you have a baseball bat and a gun, but there's only one of you, you're screwed.
There's something like that as well. So you got to take that into account. Is this a risk I'm willing to take for my neighbor's catalytic converter?
Unless you're better trained. And he's right. He's doing this for his neighbor's catalytic converter, so he must really like his neighbors.
Well, maybe not. I would think they'd have to be a pretty darn good friend for that. Now, he's going to start bashing the windows on their vehicle that they've come in here with and kind of making them pay. This is clearly punitive in this.
Hey, I mean, yeah, if they're coming on your property stealing shit, hey, karma's a bitch, right?
This particular case, he's just trying to make it so it's painful for them so that they don't come back. Now, Of course, in this particular case, does he have a legal right to do harm to their property? The answer to that is no. But are they going to press charges against him, being as they who are involved in the illegal act? I think also no. So, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily the best idea. It's not the most upstanding thing, but at the same time, it maybe makes these guys think twice about it. So I'm not going to give him too hard a time about that. Recognize again, though, he's closing distance, and so therefore he is putting himself at increased risk. He did say that they left like a drill and a jack stand and a jack and those kinds of things, so he got some tools out of the deal.
Well, I think he's closing the distance because he's got a baseball bat, and what are you going to do with a baseball bat from 50 feet away?
Oh, good for him on that. And they got a bunch of busted windows. And again, I don't have any problems with defending your neighborhood, with defending your property. And again, they'll recognize ordinary.
Yeah, it's not like those guys are going to go call the cops and say, oh, I just tried to rob this guy's catalytic converter, but he busted my fucking windows out with a baseball bat while I was doing it. You know, they're not going to get much help from the cops.
Ordinary force is different than lethal force when it comes to these kinds of things. I think he was very wise here to put a lock on the bike.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about with the lock on the bike. Watch.
Might have been even wiser to put a sign up there that says this bike is completely locked down, don't bother. Because he's been having enough problems with it. Maybe announcing this is under surveillance camera and, you know, it's locked.
Look at these two clowns. These guys are clowns, man.
Locked down and you're not going to get it out of here. We'll keep this from happening to begin with and keep you from having these.
Oh, they couldn't get it, so, and guess who's back? It's Nick 2.0.
Kinds of instances, because he comes out this time in a pair of sweats and now he uses
breaks
his
fucking
handgun to
window
bash
again.
in the window. This one I don't like very much at all for several reasons. Number one, using your handgun as a bludgeoning tool.
Oh, is that he's using a handgun to do that? Damn.
He could very easily have knocked the base plate of his magazine off there, dumped all his magazine all over the deck, and had a.
And that's very unlikely to happen. All your base plate coming out and all your bullets just coming out. It's very unlikely to happen.
Single shot gun. Number two, he is waving that gun all around and pointing it in places that I cannot say for any reasonable certainty is a direction of least consequence, and that's rule number.
Now that is true. I mean, apparently he isn't at an apartment complex, so you got to be careful on where you're pointing that gun.
Number one, safe firearms handling. Always keep firearms pointed in the direction of least consequence. He doesn't do that here. Where he is angry, I totally get that, and he's trying to argue with these people and then point a gun, whacking that gun into the rear window and then breaking the window with it. I don't think doing that with the muzzle is smart, is responsible firearms ownership. I get that he's mad, and I even get that you have a firearm on your person, like I said before, to defend yourself, to stop.
Yeah, when that adrenaline starts pumping and you're pissed and people are stealing from you, I mean, you do some things that you won't do most likely when the adrenaline's not pumping and people aren't stealing your shit.
Stop the property crime,
Just trust me on that one.
As a means of, hey, I'm not going to let somebody harm me when I go out there to stop this crime. I do think having something that actually is an intermediate force option is a wise thing here. And that's why you might end up with something like a big can, big fogger of OC that you keep near your self-defense and your home defense tool, so you can grab that and have something else as well. We've even toyed with the idea of something like a bump in the night belt, though I haven't fleshed that out completely.
Those of you that don't know what a bump in the night belt is, it's basically a belt that holds a flashlight, a couple magazines, some extra ammo for your gun, some zip ties in case you want to, restrain them until the cops get there, and shit like that. It's basically you get out of bed, you grab your gun, and you clip that belt on, and then you run outside. That's what a bump in the night belt is for.
So I got no problems with what this guy did. I think that from a perspective of, is it okay for him to have a firearm to defend his life while he goes out and defends his property? Absolutely. I think that last one, gosh, man, that starts to get into the realm of really unwise. So let's make sure we plan things out, we do things the right way, and that we don't put ourselves in trouble, both from a practical perspective and from a legal perspective, as we seek to cover our ass.
That's right. All right, guys. True Crime King, out.